It seems like ever since Tim Pool and his cast and crew got White House press access, the media has reignited their attacks against him and his team, including obviously the meltdown when the White House correspondence was announced. And now the Independent is putting together a smear of Tim saying, they're bringing up the Russia stuff again. It's absolutely bonkers. Let's take a look at it. Huge shout out to everybody who has picked up their Mother's Day gift box early. We're looking for some people to get theirs early so that they can take a picture of it, come back, and leave a review over on Coffee Brand or on Amazon. Also, we lowered prices across the board. We are now, everything's 15% off on Amazon. All of our K-Cups back down to competitive prices with Bones Coffee, and our roast whole bean and ground coffee is all 15% off. So if you've been waiting for a chance to give us a try, head on over to our Amazon store, pick it up, and most importantly, make sure you take a picture of it and leave a review when you get back. We could really, really use your help over there. Links in the description. Mega influencer Tim Pool now claims there's no actual proof showing he unwittingly took Russian money. Well, I'd be willing to bet that that's probably true. Given he hasn't been arrested, he hasn't even been named as a suspect, and the FBI referred to him as the victim in the situation, as opposed to, somebody who was getting paid out. Pro-Trump podcaster Tim Pool is now openly questioning whether he was actually duped by any kind of Russian propaganda operation that paid him hundreds of thousands of dollars to post videos for a front company, claiming that the Department of Justice has shown no actual proof to back its allegations. Well, first of all, as far as I know, as far as I can tell, there is nobody's in jail over this, but also there was never any evidence of these people saying, hey, Tim, make XYZ video, and then Tim making that video. Never happened. Jared Holt, a right-wing extremism researcher, who co-hosts the Posting Through It podcast, sent the mega influencer a series of questions ahead of Monday's episode, detailing Pool's career and evolution into popular right-wing provocateur. Pool was explicitly asked about the DOJ indictment, alleging two Russian state media producers used fake personas to funnel $10 million into the video outlet Tenet, which hired Pool and other high-profile conservative personalities to produce content. At the time the indictment was unsealed, last September, Pool painted himself and other Tenet creators such as Dave Rubin and Benny Johnson as victims who had been deceived by a nefarious plot. Putin is a scumbag. Russia sucks donkey balls, Pool tweeted in response to allegations. Well, it seems like somebody who's on the payroll probably wouldn't tweet that. Pool go even further in a video where he posted stating that he would assist federal law enforcement in whatever ways he can, reiterate. Now, again, this is a new article from today. It was printed 2 hours ago. Months after the Justice Department released its 32-page charging document that included messages, emails, and a fake resume from the Kremlin media actors, Pool now suggests that the evidence is showing that he'd unwittingly received $100,000 a week from a Russian influence operation is flimsy at best, and perhaps even false. The indictment includes an out-of-context messages that are in dispute, no actual proof of said messages in fact, and claims without any corroborating hard evidence for everything else, Pool said when he was reached for comment by Holt. Pool went on to say that the amount he was paid by Tenet was inconsequential to me and my company, adding that the deal was a minor, and his own Timcast company was hiring additional employees to expand its operation. The end of the deal changed nothing in my life, company hiring, or plans. Well, $100,000 a week is, I would say, a lot of money. But I guess Tim makes a lot more than that. I suppose he probably does. I think you're putting too much stock into the claims from the DOJ that have been adjudicated, that have never even been adjudicated. I'm not sure why you would assume that it is de facto true, Pool told Holt about the indictment. Pool, who hosts one of the highest rated podcasts in America, has also said that the amount he was paid by Tenet was market rate for someone of his stature, claiming that general ad reads on his show tend to cost tens of thousands of dollars. According to the indictment, both Rubin and Pool did inquire at some point where the money was coming from, leading the Russians to make up this Edward Grigorian, a supposed banker who was a free speech advocate. Grigorian's last name was misspelled on many documents, and influencers could find no evidence online that he worked at a real bank where he claimed to have made his money. Plus, a profile of Grigorian created by the Russians cited his interest in social justice, a red flag for Rubin, according to an email that was sent by one of Tenet's founders. I think it may be unusually a term to be used by liberals, usually a term by liberals. We're trying to create a conservative network, Tenet's founder said, of the Kremlin media producers, according to the indictment. Meanwhile, Holt noted that Poole is correct, that the government has not proven its claims in court. Yet it is important to point out that 2 Russia Today employees named in the indictment are based in Moscow. Barring a radical change of heart by the Russian President Vladimir Putin, it's unlikely they will ever be extradited to the United States to stand trial. In the end, Poole's association with Tenet hasn't hurt his company's relationship with the Trump administration. At the very least, last week, Tim Cass staffer was added to the White House press pool. That's exactly it. He waited to the last sentence to let you know why they were really writing this article. The last sentence tells you why they were really writing this article. And it's that they're angry that Tim Poole has access that they don't think he deserves, or that perhaps they don't even have. There are several other articles we're going to go through here. Have you gone over to Amazon yet? Coffee Brand Coffee? Picked up some coffee? Hopefully you will today. Let's be honest. Russia spent a lot of money on pro-Trump propaganda in hopes of weakening the U.S. And regarding terms of Trump, he's trying to help them or not. That was a very clearly successful investment on Russia's part. Does anybody even, even Lauren Chen and her husband, I don't think have been put in jail. Right? Who the heck is Tim Poole featuring Robert Silverman? This is a new article. This Jared Holt, Tim Poole backtracks, now questions whether Russia actually paid him in millions. Well, what he's saying is that there's no evidence of that. He's not backtracking. He's literally just saying, hey, look, well, nobody's been charged. There's no evidence of it. So who knows even? And I think that's a totally reasonable position to have. I don't know. It's bonkers to me that anyone would say that he's not innocent until proven guilty. There's never been any evidence. There's never been any evidence that Tim knew it was Russia or knew it was any of these people. But they're just mad. Here's Gizmodo just a few days ago. Tim Poole's podcast reportedly joins a White House press pool. The so-called manosphere helped deliver the young male vote to Trump in 2024 presidential election. Okay. The Trump administration has bucked decades of precedent by denying some legacy media outlets access to the White House in place of real journalists. The government increasingly seems to prefer the presence of partisan hacks and infotainment-style influencers. The newest addition to the White House press pool would appear to be a man that once described by Splinter as a beanie-headed dip-ish, who, among other things, was recently accused of receiving millions of dollars from the Russian government. Again, Gizmodo used to write about tech and things of that nature, and they're whining about who is and who isn't a real journalist. I don't really know what else I can tell you about that. Right-wing YouTuber Tim Poole has made it to the White House. And someone from Timcast channel will be a part of today's Poole duty coming for the president, Will Sommer. Will Sommer, senior reporter for The Bulwark, wrote on X. If you're concerned about Tim Poole, revealed last year to be taking millions of dollars from the Russian government, he says unwittingly, being part of the press pool. Don't worry, today's White House press pool also includes Falun Gong owner owned Epic Times, Sommer added. This is all, they're just jealous. They're salty. On his own X profile, X reposted Sommer's tweet, merely writing epic. Gizmodo reached out to the White House and Timcast for more information. The administration has sought to transform control of the White House press pool in ways that defy any modern president. Most recently, the administration barred outlets like the Associated Press from traditional kinds of coverage and access, well, because they refused to report accurately that it was called the Gulf of America. Meanwhile, the government has set has set up what is called Podcast Row, a new forum to let creators ask questions of government officials while also streaming their own shows live from the White House. Welcome to the White House Podcast Row, where the viewership crushes CNN and the legacy media. The White House posted on Instagram Thursday. The personalities included the first event, which were set to be a regular occurrence, including Natalie Winters, Brianna Morello, an independent journalist who previously worked for Newsmax. Now it seems Poole has joined the ranks. I was also invited. I just don't have the money for that. Again, here's the Daily Beast. Influencer paid by Russia added to the White House press. Well, I wonder if the Daily Beast can trace every dollar they've gotten. You know, I wonder if the Daily Beast asks any questions when people invest a bunch of money into their business. I get the feeling that they don't. I get the feeling that, like, so, I mean, this is great. If we go to Will's post, I'm sure he's getting crushed. Cope and seethe, loser. Haha, you're such a piece of garbage. That's awesome. Thanks for the update and support. Right wing, odd descriptor for a left wing leaning libertarian. Nothing is right wing about him. I mean, everybody in this response is dunking on this guy. So if we're asking who the real journalists are, who the real people with influences, it's certainly not these leftover fake journalists who did the exact same thing they're accusing Tim of doing over the past 6 years and pushed left-wing propaganda. The only difference is they allegedly did it for free. Congratulations, Tim, on the meltdown. May your business continue to be successful. I hope you enjoyed this video. Link to our Amazon store in the description down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.